Everybody have their microphone up here? Oh, we got the audio system on. Okay. Well, thank you all for taking the time to be up here today. I'm sad that we even have to do this because, frankly, I'm disappointed in us. Frankly, the city, just to start us off with, could have done a much better job communicating and coordinating why the Bandshell was being secured and coordinating with those affected, especially those serving meals. So I'm disappointed. We did drop the ball on the communication, and we've learned lessons, and we'll move forward in a better way. I will say it's challenging to balance public safety for the public good, and certainly there are ways to do this that are better than others, and I acknowledge that. Over the weekend, we started getting messages and hearing from folks about the Bandshell being closed. And it was too bad because that was certainly not the way to approach it, and we will work to do better on that next time. But one of the things we failed to do, I think, ahead of time was communicate why we are trying to secure the Bandshell. And so the bottom line is this: due to persistent safety and health concerns, we are securing the Bandshell when it is not in use. So why? Well, months ago, the team at the city, several folks have come to me and saying there's these ongoing concerns at the Bandshell. And I said, well, talk to me about what's going on. And, on one hand, we have the parks telling us that multiple times a week they needed to clean it from use. They've had to clean up bodily fluids, blood, fecal matter. There's vandalism, camping, assaults, intoxication, and such. I asked the police department to share some data with me, and I can tell you from 2023 to 2024, at that particular location, we had 777 calls for service between those 2 years. EMS, which runs out of our fire department, they had 134 calls for service in the past 12 months. Some of those assaults, intoxication, and those sorts of issues. And so it was really disappointing. So when you take a look at that, I said, well, hearing that feedback from both the police department, the fire department, the parks department, months ago, I said, well, let's explore ways to secure the Bandshell when it's not being used. And that way, we can try to prevent some of these things from happening at this location, because it's unfortunate. The city, though, in doing so, obviously, they erected a fence, and I want to make one thing perfectly clear. This had nothing to do with stopping the meals that are happening at the Bandshell. The city isn't preventing groups from sharing meals with those in needs. The fact is, the issue wasn't about the weekly meals. It was about what was happening between the meals. That was concerning. And in fact, if you're a group that's looking to serve those in need, you're welcome to work with the Parks Department. They will provide access to the side of the Bandshell whenever you need it. And I've instructed them that the permit fee will be waived if you coordinate with them. But because of the feces in the Bandshell, I didn't think it was appropriate that we would have people eating where others were using the restroom. I think they deserve better than that, and it was an ongoing issue. And so that was really what led to deciding that there was a better way to approach this, a better coordinated way, where folks who want to serve people in need, which we have meals being served at East Denver Street. We are aware that there's a weekly meal being served at the Bandshell, and there's probably others as well. I love the heart of our community, and I thank them for doing that. On the other end of the equation, you have the safety issues, not just for the community as a whole, but for the people that are staying there, and we want better for them than that. So this decision was made with that in mind. This is just, if I can just be candid, these are tough situations. I haven't seen everything that was said or written about me or the city on this, but from kind of the summary that I've heard, it's a lot of reading into the intention that we don't care. The fact is, we do care. Sometimes it is tough that you say, hey, you can't just, we don't want to hurt you, we want to help you, and we want to lead you to services that will help you. But the fencing around the Bandshell, which hopefully will look for a better permanent solution. I have something else in mind than what ended up going up, but we'll continue to look for that. But I wanted it to be better than that. So So the idea that we're trying to prevent people from being fed, the city never took a sandwich out of anyone's hand. We didn't stop people from being fed. That is certainly not the truth, and certainly not our intention. Quite frankly, when I heard about these issues, I really wasn't thinking about just the one meal a week. I was thinking about the other 22 hours in every day that we had to face issues there, both the people that are there and the community as a whole. So, it's tough. This community, and myself included, we really do care. And I want to make it easier for people to access the services that they need and the help that they need. And there are good people doing good work all over this city. At the same time, I don't want to make it easier for self-destruction. I want to help have a road to positive recovery. So when I see the statistics about these calls for service, about the assaults and the bodily fluids and the blood, and the staff have to clean this up every day, it creates an unsanitary and unsafe situation. And because of that, I didn't think it was appropriate for right now that especially during the winter months when the Bandshell is not in use, that it be secured. But again, I will say the city could have done a much better job communicating and coordinating prior to this in order to make the impact, I guess, less. So it hurts my heart that people think we would do anything to hurt people. That is certainly not the intention. The intention is to help people. And we will continue to put a barrier there. But if you want to serve meals, I encourage you, please work with the Parks Department. They will help provide access and work on that scheduling. And you certainly can do that, as well as there are meals all over the place, Cornerstone, Fort Creel. We know there's a lot of folks doing a lot of good things. And we encourage them to take advantage of those services as well. So it was because of the public safety and the public health concerns that we felt that we needed to secure the Bandshell when it's not in use. And, we'll continue to evaluate the situation as we move forward. But with that, I understand the media is here and that there's microphones over there because we're streaming this. You are welcome to ask questions. I'll do my best to answer anything that's related to the city or to this matter.
This thing's on? Okay, cool. Lee Strubinger, SCPB. I had two questions. One, I was wondering how much the fence had cost the city, and two, I just wanted to make sure if I heard you correctly or not, that if the group's hoping to utilize the Bandshell for feeding folks, if they coordinate with the Parks and Recs department, that they will be able to utilize that structure?
Yeah, first of all, I guess the fence, from what I understand, was something they've had around. I personally would have rather seen the accordion style doors, or like something you'd see at the mall, just to secure it when it's not in use. And to answer your second question, yes, if a group, for example, I believe there's a Friday group that feeds folks there, I encourage them, we'll be reasonable. We'll waive these fees, go work with the Parks Department to schedule that, because you also don't want to have multiple events happening at the same time. We'll certainly be willing to work with those groups.
Hi, Amelia Schaefer, ICT News and the Rapid City Journal. I was wondering if you could comment on the Department of Human Resources providing one-way bus tickets out of town to homeless individuals, and on the basis of them not being able to return. I saw posts circulating on social media this weekend regarding that matter.
You said
Thank you.
Human Resources?
Yes, the Department of Human Resources for the county.
Oh, we have an HR department. I was thinking about the hiring.
I apologize.
I'm aware that there's a bus voucher program through the county. I would have to look at the letter, I guess, specifically to know, but I'm aware that they have vouchers for people, especially for those out of state, to get them back home. With those who are experiencing homelessness, obviously there's a lot of things that drive folks to that situation, but you do want them to get back to loved ones if they have them. I think that's usually the best care for folks. And if they don't, you hope that there's shelters and services available for them to help them get back on their feet. I would encourage you to talk to the Pennington County Department of Health. I don't have much jurisdiction. I think a bus program can be a good thing if it's done appropriately. But I can't really speak too much else than that.
My name is Ernestine Chasing Hawk, and I'm the editor of Native Sun News. And I just want to read a statement that I just wrote, if you don't mind. What I see this as cloaked Nazism. Rapid City Mayor uses tactics similar to Trump and Hitler. Recent tactics used by Rapid City's Mayor Jason Solomon and City Council unveils a striking resemblance to the tactics promoted by Donald Trump and those used by Adolf Hitler, particularly in their treatment of those they consider undesirables. Both Trump and Hitler employed language that dehumanized specific groups, portraying them as threats to the fabric of society. Trump's remarks regarding immigrants as a source of societal decay resonates with the terminology used by Hitler in Mein Kampf, where he spoke about blood poisoning in the context of racial purity. Such metaphors serve to scapegoat vulnerable populations, shifting public attention away from systemic issues and fostering division. In Rapid City, Mayor Solomon's policies and rhetoric aimed at the homeless community mirror these tactics. His administration has been characterized by decisions that are dismissive and punitive regarding those who are marginalized. This aligns with the broader narrative of undesirables that has historically been used to justify exclusion and violence against disadvantaged peoples. The following actions taken by Mayor Solomon and the Rapid City Council highlight a concerning trend toward Nazism. Removal of essential amenities. The elimination of bus shelters and benches facilities vital for individuals with disabilities, reflects a lack of empathy and an intention to make public spaces less accessible for marginalized citizens, including the homeless. Increased militarism. The hiring of armed park rangers to patrol areas signals a shift toward a militarized response to social issues, imposing fear rather than fostering community safety and support. Blocking support services. The decision to obstruct the Hope Center in its efforts to provide support to the homeless indicates a systemic neglect of community needs similar to those Nazi policies disregarded the welfare of those they deemed unfit. Criminal justice expansion. Plans to expand both male and female incarceration facilities. Gentrification policies. The phenomenon of out-of-state buyers displacing low-income residents echoes a broader predatory practice that prioritizes profit over people, many into homelessness. Rejection of community support initiatives. The dismissal of proposed changes to alcohol sale times. Putting up a fence in front of the Bandshell. The installation of a fence in front of the Bandshell poses a significant concern as this location serves as a vital hub to the Oyateki Chante Washtepi, provides meals to our homeless relatives every Friday at 4:30. Deportation. Rapid City employs a tactic to deport homeless people with the agreement that they will never return to Pennington County and use social services offered in the community. These parallels between you, Mayor Solomon, Donald Trump, and Adolf Hitler highlight a concerning trend of rhetoric and policies directed at those deemed undesirable. This legacy of exclusionary practices serves as a stark reminder of the dangerous and deadly practices employed by Trump and the methods utilized by Hitler and Nazi Germany. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to respond to a few of those because some of that is absolutely not true. First of all, I detest Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, and I've spoken publicly against even modern day Nazis when they stood out in Pier. Let me talk to you about the city services that we provide. First of all, remind you that the city taxpayers are spending millions of dollars serving those who are vulnerable. In fact, out of our budget, we have a mobile medic program that serves people every day. Every day they're saving lives. We have a quality of life unit that are out looking and searching for folks when they're in need and helping them out and building those relationships. The city is the primary funder for the Journey On program, which I believe has done a tremendous thing in our community, serving those with transportation needs as well as some case management. We provide case management funding for Volunteers of America, and Great Plains Tribal Health. We provide funding for sheltering for the Cornerstone Rescue Mission and Working Against Violence, Inc. We have allocated more funding towards crisis services in Rapid City during my time than we have before. Now, the question is whether it's working or not. I think all that has to be evaluated. But the fact is, that is something that we're constantly looking at. Now, yes, the approach is a tough love approach. I do believe that we're called to help and love our neighbor. I have concerns about enabling. And some of that will bring some differences in the approach, but we all want the same thing. I don't want people to die in the streets. I don't want people to suffer. I want a better way for them. And so the fact is, this is a challenge that I think is primarily driven, and everybody experiences homelessness for a variety of reasons. Some people are down on their luck and they need help to get back on their feet. Some people are there by choice. Some people are in those situations due to mental health or addiction issues, and that strikes all of us. Doesn't really matter what our backgrounds are. All of us know people who are facing addictions, and we hate to watch their self-destruction. We see that they end up in places that hurt them and not help them, and we want better for our children. I would say we have a common enemy here, and that is drug and alcohol abuse. And I think that is one thing we can all work together on, is to address those issues in our community, and I think we still have work to do. But quite frankly, you know, to be called a Nazi and Hitler and that sort of thing is really unfair and untrue. So, any other media questions?
Mayor, my name is Tony Diamond. I'm president of the Black Hills Center for Equality. I believe that we as a community need to be working together to help overcome the challenges within our community. I don't believe that we are addressing all the ways in which to do so. And I believe one of the responsibilities as you, the mayor, and as our city council, we needed to be looking at those ways to do so. And I think one of the responsibilities as you, the mayor, is to be bringing people to the table. And personally, I don't believe you fully have done that by inviting all parties to the table. You know, you are the pastor of a church.
No, I'm not.
Well, you attend a church.
I attend a church. Yeah, I'm a full-time mayor of Rapid City.
And, okay, and you, forgive me for saying.
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
I don't have time for anything else
Okay,
other
I
than to
stand
serve Rapid
corrected.
City.
Well, you,
It's
anyways, we need to be addressing everybody. You know, I champion where we need to be bringing all parties to the table, and we need to be including all people. Mm-hmm. And I feel that that's not being addressed. Not all people are being welcomed to the table. And then as this city, I don't feel like all parties are being welcomed to the table. And that's something that we need to be addressing. How do we bring all people to the table where they feel welcome, where they feel like their voice is being heard, or being even given an opportunity to be heard? And that's something that I think that needs to be more well addressed. You know, things that are happening within our city feels like it's more an entitlement city. It doesn't feel like it's an inclusionary city. So that's something, maybe that's something we can work on, or something that you can work on is how do you make it so that people of all ethnicities, cultures are welcomed. And I know that's something that, you know, people don't feel like they're being welcomed.
Okay. I'm trying to
I have
decide
a question.
Okay, all right. I'm trying to see
I'm not
if
going to
this
give a
is
speech.
media
I'm not
interview
going
or
to give a
not.
speech.
All right.
My name's Renee Hageland. I'm the Community Events and Engagement Coordinator for Liberty Justice for All, and one of your biggest taxpayers. So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Just to clarify, were you a pastor prior to being the mayor?
Yeah, I served in ministry from 2019 to 2023.
Okay. Since you've been mayor, have you gone to any of the community meals on Fridays?
Frankly, I heard that they were off and on. No, I have not done that. I have done other things though, and I don't really want to be up here talking about everything I do or money that I
don't
get.
want to know about the other things
But
you do.
the
I
fact
just wanted to talk about the
fact is,
Bandshell.
I think it is worthwhile what they're doing, and This was not intended to shut them down. Anybody who said so, that's incorrect. Now, I can understand how someone would think that, because suddenly you just show up and there's a barrier in front of the Bandshell. And I think the communication efforts and the coordination with those groups, we did drop the ball there, and we could have done a much better job, because that wasn't the intention, nor really was it the primary focus. It was about the other issues that I mentioned earlier.
I appreciate you saying that. Can you tell us how you're going to, what the plan is moving forward for more transparency and better communication?
I'm not sure if you missed the first part of what I talked about, but internally, we're addressing that internally,
Okay.
for starters. And, I'm not going to throw shade on anybody, but the buck ultimately stops with me.
Right on.
So to set that expectation that when we make a major change like this, it is best to let folks know why ahead of time, and if somebody's impacted, to work with them in order to address that. For example, in this situation, we would have communicated, hey, this week they're putting panels up in front of the Bandshell. Hey, Mayor, there's a weekly meals being served there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, let's work with that group and see if we can figure out something with them so they can continue their meals and they know it's not about preventing those meals. That's why when I came in here today, I said we will continue to work with those groups, provide access. We aren't able to remove the fencing, but we can provide side door access to unlock that if we schedule with the Parks Department, and we will waive the permit fee to do so. That way we can schedule it and do it in a safe and orderly way.
Thank you. Would you accept the invitation to come to one of these community meals and serve?
I would be willing to serve a meal there if you like. Now, I also serve elsewhere, and I'm sure everybody has served in various places.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a matter of scheduling. But if they want me now, I'm not sure the group really wants me right now. But I will say that if I wanted to stop it, then that's what we would be doing. But that's not what we're communicating today. And that's why I wanted to make sure we clarified. That was not the intention of this.
Sure.
The intention was what was happening between the meals, not the meal itself.
Right. Well, as a member of the volunteer community, I'd like to invite you to join us next Friday. I guess it's this Friday, and help serve a meal. And you won't be hurt, you won't be threatened, but we sure could appreciate the help. I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Any other media questions?
I have some questions. Yeah, hi, my name is Jean Rotary, met a couple times
Yes, Jean.
before.
I remember you.
I had a few questions, and one of them is the issue about the fence being put up there. And every time they serve the meals, I've been there every Friday, they've been there every Friday. But also, they never open up the bathrooms for people to use. I mean, what kind of policy is that? And also, there's another question about why isn't the city helping provide an area where we can keep them warm and they can be fed, not the cornerstone, and that's always your answer. That's not what I'm asking about. But why can't you help them help people? I mean, you closed down the Hope Center.
First of all, I did not close down the Hope Center. That is untrue, so I wish you would stop saying that. Two, the restrooms are closed at the Bandshell for the similar issues, and frankly,
What's a similar issue? I don't know what you mean.
well, we've had blood, bodily fluids, things like that on a very consistent basis, and it's very unsanitary. So, but we do have porta potties available especially during the winter hours. For example, around Roosevelt, we know at West Memorial Park near the bocce ball courts, Founders Park, there are places where restroom facilities are available. Now, the reason the city already invests millions of dollars into things like the Care Campus and Cornerstone and Wavy.
Have you ever been to the Care Campus?
Oh, many times. I was just there last week.
Do you think that it's okay for people just to lay on the floor because, what?
Well,
They don't deserve a place that's a little bit warmer or
Right.
nicer?
there are.
Then you have to be alcohol, you have to be drinking to go there.
That's right.
If
So
you don't know that, but a lot of our people don't drink.
I know that.
With
That's why
families,
you
where
have,
are they going?
That's why you have Cornerstone. It serves as an
Cornerstone
emergency
don't
shelter.
accept children.
And then there's women's and children's shelter
Okay, it's
that they
always
have.
full.
And I think that there's more needs, but I don't necessarily believe that the government can provide all those services. I think we have to have nonprofits and ministries.
Well, you're
step
not
up and do that.
providing it. It's the taxpayers that
Yeah.
pay for this, and they pay for your job too.
They do.
Okay, so another thing I'm really concerned about is one of our children were shot last weekend, okay? Why is it that there's other alternatives to shooting people? One is rubber bullets, there's pepper spray, or there's even negotiations. A lot of these young people are on other, like alcohol or other substances, and they need to be talked to. Are they doing that? Are they negotiating? I heard they surrounded the whole building.
Okay, I don't think I can talk about an open
Okay,
case right
well,
now, Gene.
I think it's something we need to talk about.
I know, but I'm
this
not-
is the
I'm not in a
seventh
place to do that.
Native American person that the RCPD shot and killed. Okay, we're talking about death. And I'm getting really upset that nobody is addressing this and you want to play it off to whoever else. No, we need to address this.
I understand, but
You
obviously in a
understand,
state,
but obviously what?
from what I understand, there was a gun pointed at officers in the public, and they had to take action. And unfortunately, it led to loss of life. It's sad. I'm sad that that happened.
Do they own rubber bullets?
Ma'am, I'd have to talk to the police department
Okay,
to
well, they
get you all
should,
that.
because they have all these other expensive things that they bought with our taxpayer money. These
Mm-hmm.
little robots and stuff. Those aren't in use?
I'll have to get the police department in
Yeah,
here
well,
to answer
really,
those
they should,
specifically.
because it's getting bad. When this is the 7th person that they've killed, okay, there's a pattern. And I'm not even talking about the pedestrians that are getting hit. These need to be addressed along with, or people not sleeping in the cold because your budget doesn't call for it. It
Well-
needs to call for it. Another thing that we need to address is the question about the land that's over there where Regional West is and the nursing home next to it. Now, there's some kind of discrepancy on that land there, also including the Senior Citizen Center on Canyon Lake. One of those facilities can help us help our people. Okay, help us help our people. We're not asking you to create a whole new organization. We're just asking for you to give us that land back, for one. And this has already been a negotiation. Before you came, maybe you need to catch up on that. But there's some stuff that has to happen, because this is all part of our treaty land.
Okay.
So really, think about it and do something, because it's getting to the point where we're getting tired of it. And I've been a resident of this town my whole life, probably before you were born. So I really like to see some kind of answers before somebody freezes to death.
And we don't want anybody to freeze to death.
For sure.
We agree.
So it needs to be
We agree.
happening soon.
Any other questions, particular from the press?
We're free press.
Yes, ma'am. You're good? Okay. So I thought it was important, again, I'll wrap up, that we share a little bit about the why we had to secure the Bandshell for public safety and the public good. Unfortunately, a lot of these are a lot of issues there, and it's a challenging situation. And so, but once again, it was not intended to target those serving meals. In fact, we're willing to work with those serving meals, but we need to do better job with communication moving forward. So, with that, thank you all very much.